Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Suggs. I'm one of the partners and brand strategist here at Reckon Branding.
And I'm Travis Sharp, a creative director here at Reckon.
So today we're going to be going over the idea and question, are you shortchanging your brand? The reason we're doing this presentation for you is we realize a lot of people, just because they're getting started and funds are tight, they do a lot of branding on their own. So we wanted to walk you all through how to think about your brand and make sure you're creating a unique brand. So what's the purpose? Why should you care? So the right brand gives you as a company the ability to connect with the right customers, just as importantly, to connect with the right employees, make sure that the right kind of people are wanting to come work for you. It will help increase the ROI on all of your marketing spend. It'll help increase your company's value in the eyes of potential buyers as you think about exiting one day. It'll help you survive unforeseen errors. If you think about back in the day when Apple released the iPhone 4 and they had that kill spot on it, we trusted Apple would fix it, and they did. Where that would have probably ruined many companies, they pushed through. And it also allows you to not become a commodity. So your customer sees a value in you beyond how much you cost or things that you offer. And we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper. One of the things we want to talk about first is, what is a brand? So commonly when people are getting started, they think, well, my brand is my name, my logo, and my website. That's what people see. Well, this is not your brand. These support your brand. In actuality, what we like to say to our customers, your brand really is, what would they say to one of their friends about you? What was the experience like? And that's really more of an emotional experience, and how you support that with your logo, your name, your messaging, your website. And if you connect with that experience, that's where really a strong brand begins to take shape. When most brands and companies start to create their own messaging in the beginning, very commonly, and nearly most everyone we start working with, they're selling what they do versus why them. So, you go through a website and really they're just promoting their industry. Your customer is coming to your website already knowing they need your service. What they need to know is, why should they pick you? So as you start to think about creating your brand and your messaging in a sea of others like you, how do you get them to pay attention to what makes you different from others who do what you do? We talked about this a little bit earlier, but people fall back to prices and sales and temporary offers. And that's, if you think about product price and promotion, that's not the way you want to go, because these are very temporary and your competitors can easily cut your price. That new products come out all the time. You may pivot as a company, your services change. So if your brand is all about a service, then you kind of have to reinvent what you're saying and start over. So what we ask our customers to think about is, what is your why? And we realize that's a little bit of a weird question when you're getting started. So another way to think about it is, or besides to make money, why are you in business? And this is critically important for two key audiences. Obviously, for your customer, they want to know, what is it about you that you're going to give me that others can't? But just as important, if not more important, is potential employees and retaining employees. In today's marketplace, employees want to know what my company is doing. Why are we here? How are we changing society? What good are we doing besides making money? They want to feel value that they're adding to the world. So understanding this really connects with these two audiences and helps differentiate you from others in your space. The other benefit of this is it gives you a focus to activate against consistently. So as you're talking about creating one sheets and creating your website, writing emails and marketing collateral, those all need to come from the same place, have the same messaging, have the same tone. So people start to quickly understand who you are in your space, and they're not confused with different messaging terms, colors, and different graphics. So you want to think about, how can we create and activate a brand that supports this why? So what we want to do is walk you through common things that advertising agencies do that you can be aware of so you can ask yourself these questions as you're starting to craft your brand. So the 5 common exercises that nearly every agency does, and they may have their own version or call it a different thing, and we do this too, is defining your archetype, your essence, your mission, your vision, and your positioning statement. Now, understand these are all internal. Now, while they may be the foundation and fuel what you would create for your messaging and your tagline and what your logo may look like, these are things that are meant to educate your team, your key stakeholders in your brand, potential employees that you may be hiring, what you are about. So we're going to walk you through these and give you some guidance on how to think and questions to ask as you start to craft your brand.
So one of the first things we like to think about is, what is your brand's archetype? You've probably heard a lot lately about the importance of storytelling and telling my brand's story. And that stuff is super important. People like stories, and they think in stories. So to help tell brand stories, you need to know, what is your character in the story of your audiences. If we are able to define who our character is, then we're going to do a better job of breaking through the clutter and making that emotional connection with our audiences. So it was Carl Jung who, in recent times, was the one who said that these 12 archetypes, these 12 characters exist throughout time, throughout culture. They're in movies, they're in books. And if we can figure out which of these different archetypes we are as a brand, it's going to help us tell those stories, and it's going to help them tell them in the right voice. It's going to tell us how we should act. It's going to tell us how we should market and how we should write an email, how we should do every aspect of our job. And just to give you a quick look at archetypes in action, here are 2 brands selling the same product to the same people to do the same things. Dove Men's Care is more the caregiver. They're about taking care of your skin's health. They're here to support you. Then we have Old Spice, who is clearly the jester. They're just going to tell jokes. They want to make you laugh to connect with you. Both of these brands are really successful in their space, and both of them do a great job connecting to their audiences by harnessing their archetypes. So there's really not a right answer. The right answer for you is, what is an archetype that feels true to us, that we're all willing to jump on board, and that we can all understand and execute our branding against. Archetypes aren't limiting, right? You could almost pick any archetype off of that circle of 12 and put it into action, and you can do anything with those archetypes. So let's just say I'm going to ask a buddy of mine if they want to grab a drink after work. Here's how the every person archetype would do it. Hey, if you're free after work, want to grab a drink. Very approachable, very real world, very easy to understand. How would the innocent archetype say? Well, they might say, like, doesn't something fizzy sound delicious? Let's powwow after work and chat it up. So it's kind of like simple and nostalgic and charming. What about the ruler? How would the ruler invite you to a drink? Well, it would be very different. It might be, I'll see you after work for a cocktail and don't be late. Each of these is impactful. It's interesting. There's a good chance that you're going to follow through with that request. It's just, how do we say it? How do we walk? How do we talk?
One thing we want to do is, we as a brand ourselves as Reckon went through this process. So as examples, we're going to walk you through the answers we came up with our own brand so you can see this in action. So here's talking through the archetypes for us.
One of the things you'll often find when you're looking at your brand archetypes is that your industry has an archetype. So in the world of branding agencies and ad agencies, we're all creators, right? That's what we all do. We create this material, we create these brands. So it's important to know that that's what your industry is, but it also tells me that, like, well, if we're all creators, I don't want to be another creator with my archetype. I want to find something above and beyond that. So in a world of creators, we've realized that Reckon is the caregiver. We're not about like quick, fast turnarounds for a lot of money. We want long-term relationships. We want to support our clients. We want to do what's right for them, to the point that sometimes we'll even recommend they go with someone else because their budget isn't right for us or what they need isn't right for us. We are taking care of our clients, ourselves, and our employees, and that makes us a caregiver, and that kind of tells us how we walk and talk, and we do things a little differently. So one of the next things we like to work with our clients is your brand essence. Your brand essence are 3 descriptive words that describe your brand that no other brand could claim. Why 3? Well, think about a stool. If you got one leg, you're kind of rickety. It's putting way too much emphasis on one thing. If you got 2, well, it's better, but it's a little unbalanced, and we're not sure if that pattern holds up, right? So it takes 3 things to define a pattern. For example, if I told you Ford, Lincoln, and asked you to complete that list, what would you say? If you said Mercury, I would say you're wrong. I was listing presidents. The right answer is Carter. If you said Carter, I would say wrong. We're listing cars. The right answer is Mercury. So we need 3 to really define a pattern and to create something unique. Like, 2 things in opposition gives us a little bit of interest, but 3 things kind of in a balance can really define a brand that is totally unique. So again, just to kind of walk you through this works, to help get these words that we're going to use, we like to think about brands from a bunch of different angles. What are the attributes of the brand? Just the ways we would describe the brand, what they make, what they do, where they are. What are the benefits? Like if I use your product or service, what are the benefits? What are the personality of the brand? Just what are they like? If they were a character, what would that character be like? This is all about our brand. And then we start to talk about our audiences. Why should our audiences believe us? What does it say about our audiences if they decide to partner with our brand? And finally, maybe most importantly, how does it make them feel? How does our brand make them feel emotionally? So we create this list of sometimes thousands of words, and then we're looking for 3 words that don't necessarily fit together easily. We want a little bit of built-in conflict because people love conflict, positive conflict. So for Reckon, we realized that our brand essence words were curious, practical, and Southern. Those are 3 unique words that I don't think I could find any other branding agency anywhere in the world and say they are curious, practical, and Southern. That is Reckon and Reckon only, and that defines our personality and our brand in a really unique way. And every time we need to tell another story about Reckon, we need to write another blog post, or we need to put a new page on our website, or we need to do a new social media post. We go back to these 3 brand essence words, and it almost makes it easy to think about what that next story might be. So we've all heard about mission statements. What is a mission statement? Well, to put it plainly, it's a statement that clearly communicates your brand's purpose, objectives, and how it serves the audience. Why do we have a mission statement? Well, it helps the whole team focus on what we need to work on and what we don't need to work on, right? This is what we're focusing on. And really, very clearly, sometimes you'll find yourself doing something and you'll say like, wait, does this fit our mission? And you're like, oh, no, it doesn't. Well, we don't need to be doing that. So again, just to give you an example, our brand mission is that we strive to create happiness for passionate people. Note that this is a why statement, not a what statement. We don't talk about brands. We don't talk about ads. We don't talk about videos or logos. We want to create happiness for passionate people. And if we're doing that, we're doing our job well. If we ever find ourselves doing something that isn't in an attempt to create happiness for passionate people, we realize, oh, wait, we're not supposed to be doing this. This isn't what we do. And it can let us know where to take our focus.
And for each of these, as we go through them, as we mentioned before, we're thinking about not only our customers, but what does it mean to our team members? So externally, we want to partner with people who are really invested in the brand. Internally, we do things to encourage passion within our team. We have personal passion days where people can go off and do creative outlets and new things that would inspire themselves. We give stipends for people to do creative classes. So these are all things to help foster passion internally.
So the next thing on that list is your brand's vision statement. Now, a lot of people have a lot of confusion between mission statements and vision statements, and I've heard every kind of definition, but the way we at Reckon define your vision statement is that it is a short phrase that describes the future that your brand is working towards. So it is a future goal. It's kind of a North Star. It's very aspirational, and but it gives us an alignment. It energizes us. It gets us excited. If we as a team know that we're hoping to do something great, that's inspiring. That gives me a reason to come into work every day. It gives our partners something to believe. So again, we'll give you the example of ours at Reckon. Our vision is to be the branding agency where passionate creatives and passionate brands come together to grow. That's a vision that I think we will always be pursuing. We'll never get there and say we're done, right? There will always be another brand. There will always be another opportunity. But it gives us something to unify us and to make sure we're always pursuing that goal. So the last thing on that list you saw was a positioning statement. Positioning statements, a lot of companies have them, a lot of brands believe in it. This is kind of like marketing 101. So what is a positioning statement? It is a statement, a kind of a long run-on sentence a lot of times, that outlines what we do, who we do it for, what makes us different, and why we do it. So this statement is a guide for the decisions we make, for the branding that we do, for our strategy, our marketing, our sales material, our product design. It gives us a guide for continuity, because we know that it's really hard to connect with our audiences. And if we're not doing it in a consistent way, then we're losing our opportunity. I'm not going to delve into this too much, but again, you heard that there's the 4 things. The first thing talks about who we're talking to. And it's not a demographic, it's really more of a psychographic. Who are the people, both external, internal, that we want to talk to? How would we describe them? Then a frame of reference. What are we? What do we do? What are we all about? And then our point of difference. What is it that makes us different from everybody else out there that's doing what we do? And then finally, well, why should I believe that? Yeah, that all sounds great, but prove it to me. So once more, just to kind of show you how we created our positioning statement. For passionate brand stewards, right? So we didn't define a title or, for CEOs or marketing managers or brand managers. This is for anyone who is a passionate brand steward. So that could be a designer, it could be a client, it could be anybody who is passionate about branding. Reckon is the creative-led agency that provides ongoing full-service branding and creative partnerships. So creative-led kind of being one of the standout things. We're a little different. And then, because we believe a brand is a living entity that deserves consistent support to truly succeed. So that both tells about what makes us different and why I should believe it, right? Well, they believe that a brand is a living thing. That's unique and different, and that kind of makes it make sense that they do what they do and why they do it.
So hearing all this is really one thing. If there's one takeaway we want you to remember, it's the idea of going through this process, document it, put it down on paper, create a PDF, share it with your team members, share it with any key brand stakeholders. If you have marketing partners, social marketing strategists, media planners, they all need to understand the space that you're carving out as a brand. And again, just to recap, why is this important? This again connects you with the right customers, the right employees, increases your ROI on marketing, increases the value of your company and potential buyers of your company, helps you weather unforeseen errors, and avoids you from having to differentiate yourself on price, product, and promotions. So hopefully this will give you some guidance. We will include PDFs of the slides, so you can go download these and use these to walk your team through them. And just as a guide, as you ask yourself these questions, obviously, if you have any questions, I'm going to also include our contact info in the description of the video. We are more than happy to talk with you, give you guidance. We realize not everyone has the budget to hire a branding agency, and we want everybody to have the right mindset and the right tools to get them started off on the best foot possible. So thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And we look forward to hopefully hearing from you. Thanks.
Bye.